Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato SammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato SammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato SammaSambuddhassa. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Dutayampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dutayampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Dutayampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Tatayampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Tatayampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Tatayampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gade Gade Paragade Parasamgade Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gade Gade Paragade Parasamgade Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gade Gade Paragade Parasamgade Bodhi Soha. So now get yourself in a comfortable position, whether standing, moving, sitting down, or lying down, the 4 postures. Of course, the best position probably is cross-legged on the floor or on the couch or something like that. But at least on a chair, try to keep your back upright, unless you have a bad back. If you do, then you can lie down. Now bring your mind to your body to release the tension in the body. And as we do this, we will release the tension in the mind. So initially bring your focus to your feet. Release the tension from your toes, the balls of the feet, the arches, and the heels. From the top of the feet and around your ankles and Achilles tendons. Now focus on releasing tension from your lower leg, from the calf muscles and shins, and your knees, the front, sides, and back of your knees. Your upper leg, the quads at the front, and the hamstring at the back. Now release the tension from your midsection, from the glute muscles, the hip flexors, and the groin. Now release from your lower stomach, up your sides, and your lower back. Further up your stomach and sides, and to the center of your back. Up to your chest area, under your arms, and your upper back. On either side, you have the lateral muscles, and running between the shoulder blades and the spine are the rhomboid muscles. We tend to carry a lot of stress in this area, so make sure you pay particular attention to releasing any tension there. And it is likewise with the upper trap muscles that run between the neck and the shoulders. Pay particular attention to releasing the tension, as well as on your shoulders. Now from your upper arms, the biceps and triceps, and elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. Now bring your focus to your neck and release the tension from the front, sides, and back of your neck. And the back of your head, and the sides of your head around your ears and temples. From your face, around your cheekbones and cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw. Your chin and your mouth, inside and outside. Placing the tongue on the upper palate above the top teeth in your mouth, with your lips gently touching. Your nose, sinuses, eye sockets, and eyes. And make sure you're not frowning on your forehead. And finally release from the crown of your head. And now just briefly scan your body from the tips of the toes to the tips of the fingers and to the top of your head, just to see if you can release any more tension. Now bring your focus to placing your mind on your breath. Initially at the tip of your nose, and then follow the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out. The breath's quite cool on the back of your throat as you breathe in. When it enters the lungs, they expand. When you breathe out, they compress, and the air is quite warm as it passes your throat on the way out your nose. That's all we have to do right now, is focus on the breath. And if the mind becomes distracted, then you just refocus on your breath. If you're having thoughts or attitudes or emotions, don't cling to them, don't grasp at them. Don't forcefully try to push them away or deny them. Just let them come and go naturally by refocusing on your breath. And likewise, if your mind becomes dull and sleepy, just focus on your breath a little bit more brightly. This way, refocusing on your breath or replacing your mind on your breath is the antidote for both the agitated mind as well as the dull mind. For our mind is so often like a pendulum, going from one extreme to another. Remember, the Dharma path is also known as the middle path, beyond extremes. So now just focusing on your breath, breathing in, breathing out. We will do this in silence for a few minutes. And now feel really pleased with yourself that you have engaged in this short meditation to help to purify the mind, to help your mind be tranquil, peaceful, bright and relaxed. Fill yourself with universal loving kindness and friendship, appreciation and respect, acceptance, and even forgiveness. Realizing that you deserve to be happy and have the causes of happiness. And you also deserve to be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. In this way, we be kind to ourselves. And when we are kind to ourselves, we're able then to radiate this kindness, this universal love and kindness outwards towards others. So now radiate this loving kindness to your family and friends, wishing that they also are happy and free from suffering. Extend it out further and further, now to include strangers. Those people that you may know a little bit or not at all. Wishing that they are happy and free from suffering. Now extend this loving kindness to those you find difficult, those people that may irritate you, or you may even regard them as enemies. Wishing that they have happiness and the causes of happiness, and are free from suffering and the causes of suffering. That all people are happy and free from suffering. And now you can extend this loving kindness out further and further to include all living beings. Those living beings living on the land, in the waters, flying through the air, born from wombs, from eggs, from moisture, and through transformation. May all sentient beings be happy, and may they live in safety and joy. All living beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, may they all be happy. Initially around your area, and keep extending it out further and further, like a tidal wave of loving kindness, to include your state or county, and eventually pervade your whole country. And keep radiating further and further to include countries in this world that you are familiar with and those you are not familiar with, until this loving kindness pervades the whole world. May all beings be happy and free from suffering, and may there be peace everywhere. Now extend the loving kindness throughout the whole solar system. Throughout the whole galaxy of solar systems. And throughout the whole universe of galaxies. And finally, through infinite space, throughout infinite space. May this infinite loving kindness be radiated everywhere, beyond limit. Now be present in yourself, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. So while maintaining a peaceful mind, a bright mind, I'll give a short Dharma talk now. And today's subject is on right concentration. It may take us 2 or 3 weeks to go through this because there's a few things that I want to mention. It's once again, we're starting to get a little bit deeper now. Even though the Eightfold Path is known as the fold path because all of the aspects fold into each other. There's no separateness anywhere. But now we're into the meditation part. And of course, the last few classes we've spoken about right effort, the effort to maintain a wholesome state of mind and to relinquish unwholesome states of mind and thoughts. And then last week we spoke about right mindfulness, mindfulness of the body, of feelings and sensations, of the mind and the activities of the mind. Of course, the word mindfulness is very well known in the world today. But probably it's a fragment of what the Buddha was teaching, a lot of it. It's still very, very helpful. You know, some people say mindfulness, you make a cup of tea, be mindful. Yes, mindful of the pouring in there. That's fine. But actually the mindfulness we're talking about helps to develop this perfect concentration. So our goal by practicing mindfulness, by practicing meditation based on morality, which leads to wisdom, our goal right now is to develop one-pointed concentration, or known in Sanskrit and Pali as samadhi, where the mind is not distracted. Of course, it takes a lot of practice to achieve that, but that's the goal. As mentioned in the early classes, we have to have a goal for the practice, the purpose of the practice, and then know the methods to be able to put into practice correctly and accurately to be able to achieve our goal. I think we all know this, but we have habits that is contrary to that a lot of the time. The mind's very busy. We're chasing after things we like and want, and the mind so often is trying to push away things we think we don't want and don't like, called attachment and aversion. So talking about the right concentration, where the mind is tranquil, where it is bright and flexible. It's not like we are fixing on an object and then that's it. Remember last week I gave the example about the young student watering his master's orchids, and he wasn't paying attention to his elbows, knocked over the orchids and broke everything. That's not really the mindfulness we're talking about. Yeah, you can say he was being mindful of the watering, but mindfulness and the concentration we're after is not about, you know, having a very narrow, myopic view. It's about opening the mind. The mind is very vast. Even in the state we're in right now, where we're distracted a lot of the time, still our consciousness or mind is very vast. But we're looking to open it up more and more and more. That's where the loving kindness meditation that we do and so many of the other techniques the Buddha taught are so often about opening the mind more and more. So our goal is to develop right or perfect concentration. The Eightfold Path, we tend to normally use the word right, but we're also talking about perfect. Of course, right now we're not perfect. We're not right. We're right and perfect a lot of the time. So what we're doing really is clearing the mind so that these perfections can arise. So I've written a couple of notes. First of all, we should know the past is gone, finished. But so often we dwell on it, don't we? Especially on the negatives. The only good thing about the past is that we can learn from it. And of course, the future is not here and never will be. Because what we know as the future, the next moment, when it arises, it's the present. Years ago, when I was working in the entertainment industry, and I was unmotivated sometimes because of the business side of it and whatnot, I put a saying on my fridge that said, "Procrastinate tomorrow." Do you get that? Tomorrow never comes. In other words, don't procrastinate. Live in the present. So the mind also is clear in this state, in the concentration, really clear, not muddy, not foggy. So we should always try to be present in this present moment. Try our best. The more we do it, the more it becomes natural to do so. So, like I said, we're going to take probably, I'd say maybe 3 classes to go through this, because we'll be talking about the what we call the 18 dhatus, which relates to the subject of the mind and the senses, the sense doors, the 6 senses, as well as the 6 sense objects and the 6 consciousnesses as well. And we will expand that to 8 consciousnesses as well. So I just thought I'd give you an overview of that, what is to come. And I need to spend a little bit more time in explaining the aspects and the details. And then, of course, we will be looking at the 12 ayatanas, which is the senses and the sense objects before the conscious moment, before they have contact with each other. So we'll be speaking about that in detail as well. And then we'll also be talking about the 51 derivative mental factors, the different states of mind, the wholesome, the unwholesome, the changeable, and so forth. And so that's why it will take a bit of time. There's 51 of those. So, if we spoke about one in each class, then it'd take almost a whole year. But I'll paraphrase a lot of things. And so today I thought that we'd talk about the what is known as the 4 Dhyanas in Sanskrit, or in Pali is 4 Jhanas. And the English translation for that is mental absorption. So we'll just call them the absorptions. And these are different levels of attainment in our meditation practice, where the mind slowly becomes more pure, or gradually, I should say, becomes more pure. The gross aspects of the mental afflictions start to melt away. And then eventually the subtle aspects as well. We start to purify the mind by practicing the meditation and the concentration. So there are 4 dhyanas, known as the form dhyanas. This is, by the way, I've mentioned previously, this is where the word Zen comes from, or in Chinese, Chan, or Korean, Sion. It comes from transliteration, I should say, of the word Dhyana or Jhana. When Buddhism went to China, it became, with an accent, it became Chana. And then over a long period of time, it was shortened to Chan. So Chan, in a sense, means mental absorption, the mind absorbing, being absorbed in wisdom, compassion, and so forth. So then, of course, Buddhism made its way to Korea, became Sion, and then eventually to Japan, became Zen. There is a misunderstanding in a lot of, some people I've heard talk about it in the past. They think it comes from the word zenith, which means the highest. But no, it doesn't. It comes from the word dhyana or jhana. Then there are also, beyond the 4 jhanas, there are also known as the 4 formless states, which we won't go into today. But the first one of those is the state of mind of infinite space. Then the next one is infinite consciousness. The next one is infinite nothingness. And then the 4th one is beyond perception and non-perception. So you can see just by these words, it's quite in-depth, quite, you could say, deep and profound. But I have an idea of the word profound. It just means we don't understand it yet. That word yet is really important. What the Buddha taught us, he taught us because we can understand. Just sometimes it takes a little bit of time. First of all, to understand the words and the meanings of the words, to understand the concepts that the words are explaining and the meaning of these concepts, to eventually break beyond conceptual thinking, or another way of saying dualistic thinking. So if we talk about the first jhana, we enter into this first mental absorption and remain in this state of mental absorption after we've detached from sensuality, from attachment. We have freed ourselves from attachment to the senses and the sense objects. Then also we have detached from unwholesome states of mind. Now, of course, we're not there yet, but we have the potential. Right now, it just may be that much that we've done this, but we can, because we've done that much, we can increase it. We already can do this. Even if we're the most distracted person in the world, we still can for 1 second concentrate. And then we can make it 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and so on and so forth. But in this first jhana, we still have thoughts. And we also have thought processes. And we have exaltation and a well-being, a feeling of well-being engendered by non-attachment or detachment. So that is briefly an explanation of the first jhana. The second one, I've written myself, I always write myself point notes, just so I don't forget any aspects, especially when I'm teaching like this and I don't get any feedback from you guys. So the second jhana is with the stilling of thoughts and thought processes, and with inner tranquility and a unification of the mind, we enter into the second absorption and remain there. This second absorption is without thoughts and without thought processes. But we still have exaltation and a feeling of well-being engendered by concentration. So now the mind is becoming much more subtle, much more pliant, much more clear, much more bright. More tranquil. And then we enter into the third jhana, or the third mental absorption, with the fading away of exaltation and of this feeling of well-being in concentration. We remain equanimous, in other words, having a mind of equanimity. We remain mindful, and we're endowed with thorough understanding, clear understanding. We abide in the well-being of one who is equanimous and mindful. So to enter into this jhana, we have freed the mind from any feeling of exaltation. There's no high, no low, no better or worse. There's a total mind of equanimity, of non-bias. We enter the fourth jhana and remain in the fourth jhana by abandoning pleasantness and unpleasantness. Gladness and affliction have previously disappeared already. And we remain in this absorption without pleasantness or unpleasantness, purified by mindfulness, due to and based on equanimity. You know, in the prayer that we do when we do the preliminary chanting at the start of the class, the fourth line of the immeasurable, the Four Immeasurables prayer, is maybe all abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. So this is not only wishing that we do it ourselves, yes, but actually wishing and having the aspiration to help others also to achieve this. Free from attachment to the near means free from attachment to the things that we may find pleasing, the pleasantness, and also free from aversion to the far means that we have a mind that is free from having the opposite, you could say, of attachment, which is aversion, a dislike, even a hatred, always wanting to push things away that we find unpleasant. So now in the fourth absorption, we find, excuse me, we find that the mind is now free from this. So hopefully this short, brief explanation, of which I will expand upon in the coming weeks, as well as if I have a bit more time now, probably don't. So I think hopefully it's clear for you. And once again, I will invite you all to send me texts or call me, or send me a text in Messenger or email, or if you have any queries about this. And I encourage you, I have a little bit of hay fever today. If I encourage you to really think about it, maybe watch the class once it's posted on Facebook, and then just have a little think about it. At the beginning, just think about what it is you've heard, what it is you've retained. first jhana, or first absorption, then we enter into second absorption, third absorption, fourth absorption, where the mind becomes totally equanimous, free from bias. So just to reiterate, this aspect of meditation that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, try to maintain, try your best, your very best, to maintain a wholesome state of mind and have wholesome thoughts, and to free your mind from unwholesome thoughts and state of mind. Also, practice mindfulness of the breath. As you do this, you become mindful of the feeling of the breath mentally, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And you can go deeper and deeper into your mind. Like I've mentioned before, if you think about the mind like the ocean, on the surface of the ocean, due to the winds and tides, tows and everything, it can be quite rough sometimes. But the deeper you go into the ocean, the more still it becomes. Just like this with the mind, the deeper you go into the mind. And without attaching, you can understand how the mind works. So rather than being cut off this week, I think I'm going to finish up just about now. It says less than 1 minute. And it's not counted down seconds though, is it? But that's okay. So I think we can just take refuge just the once